Hey guys, what's going on? It's Don here from Novaspirit Tech and welcome back to the channel. And today we are going to be checking out Antech's water cooling. So let's get started. Now before we begin, I do want to thank Antech for sending me over the water cooling blocks. Today we will be taking a look at the 240 water cooler, and then the 120 will actually be for a later project, but they sent to me early. So we're going to be checking this out later in the future. And they also provided me with some thermal compound. All the links to what I'm talking about will be down in the descriptions below, so check it out. Now, before I begin, I do want to give you a little bit of a backstory on why I chose this company and one of the things that I love about this water cooling setup. So let me get this out of the way first. And as I'm doing the unboxing, I'll give you a little bit of the backstory on what happened. Now, a couple of years ago, I actually used the Alphacool water cooling system, which is the GPU and the CPU. And you could probably find the video up on my channel. And that's the day I installed it. Now, about 2 months ago, the water cooling died. Like, it started having like this weird tick to the fan and the water wasn't being pumped through. I'm going to show some clips over here. Yeah, I'm not sure if you guys can hear it, but it's clicking. And that's basically all it does. And I ended up having to basically take it out and swap it over for the prism cooler that I have here, and then swap it out for the fan cooler for my GPU. I had the whole setup with the GPU and the CPU together. Anyway, switching over to this setup, the only problem I have with this is noise level. Now, if I keep this at a lower clock, like 2200 RPM, at 2200 megahertz. Now, stock clock on this computer is 3.6, turbo boost to 4.4, but at 3.6, even with that, the computer still makes some audible noise. Now, take a look at my setup and you can see that I'm actually about 2 feet away, or maybe 1 feet away from the actual mic or myself. So when I'm trying to do some gaming videos, all you hear is this noise, the fan noise coming from this computer. And that's only at stock clock. And once I turbo boost, the CPU fan goes up to 100 and it doesn't maintain it just basically gets loud. So I needed to replace it to another water cooler just to keep it down. Now I use this computer to edit, and anytime when I'm exporting a video, I try to overclock it to, not overclock, but keep the turbo boost up so I can export the video faster. But again, it's crazy amount of noise. So the water cooling solution is not necessarily for me to drop the temperatures down to the point where I want, but it's more towards the noise that it's generating. Now, this was packaged really well, and it does have all the hardware in this box. Right now I'm just removing all the plastic from here. And let me show you guys this. So if you take a look at this, the top of the cooler, it has a separate fan right over here. That's actually to cool the VRMs. And if you've seen my previous videos on water cooling before, I've always complained about it. When you have a water cooling setup on your computer, there's nothing to cool the VRMs. Compared to like a prism cooler that you have like right here, when the fan's blowing down, it's actually cooling all the other stuff around it, especially the VRMs and all the other stuff. When you go water cooled, you don't have that feature, and this is one of the things that I like about this. It's because they installed the fan here just purposely to keep the VRMs cool. Now this is a thicker unit. It's, I believe, 38 millimeters thick, so it's not like the standard size water coolers that you see. It's a little bit thicker than that, which is fine. And you're gonna notice one thing about this entire setup is that there is no wires. The fan wires actually run along the tubing of the water cooling, so there's actually no wires floating around, and yet you could still change the fans around because they left the wire out. So if you wanted to change to your own fans, you could still do that. As far as the hardware it comes with, it should have all the hardware for both Intel and AMD, so I shouldn't have to worry about this. Now that you know the backstory behind that and also this whole setup, I'm going to start putting this into this guy. As soon as I'm done with this, I'm going to show you the benchmarks, temperatures, and everything that I done before when it was still in this setup, and then I'm going to give you the numbers when the water cooling setup is on. So let's get building. There's like no clearance anywhere. I barely could fit this in there, which is what I had measured out anyway. From my previous cooler, I only had this much space anyway. But yeah. Alright, so it's a couple of days later after I had a chance to test out the whole AIO system, and I gotta say I am so impressed. As far as using the fan cool and the benchmarks, here it is. On idling, it's around 40 to 41 degrees, and the fan is around like 40%, and it's almost not too noticeable as far as using the fan and idle. But as soon as you try to run Cinebench, it goes up to 100%, and that thing is loud. Here are some of the sounds. And you're going to notice that it peaks at 72 degrees Celsius using fan cool at 100% fan speed, and it's just loud. Here's the impressive bit. I'm now doing this on the AIO, and at idle temperatures, it's running under 30s. It's like 29, 27, right around there, and the fan spins around 20 somewhat percent. And the 120 millimeter fans that come with the cooler, the lowest speed they could spin at is 200 RPM, and the highest is 1800 RPM. And when running this guy at full tilt, you could see it doesn't even get past 58 degrees. That's about 15 degrees cooler than what the fan cooling was doing. And it's not even noticeably loud. It's about like 58% or 55% fan speed, so you could barely hear it when it's actually using full speed. And as far as the results go in the Cinebench, they're both about the same. It's only about like 3-point difference. It's 3 points faster on the water cool. But again, I didn't expect anything to be faster because I'm using just the stock boost and everything. Overall, I am so impressed with this AIO. I'm actually more impressed with this one than I am with the Alphacool that I had, because the Alphacool kept it only around like 33 degrees in idle and around like 60 degrees at full tilts. But then again, I was cooling two things at once, the GPU and the CPU. So anyway, that's it for this part. I will leave all the links down in the description below. I'm very happy with the results of this and the look of how everything came out with the silver and the black that matches the motherboard and everything else that I had on the computer. It just worked out very well. Anyway, if you guys like this video, please hit the like button. If you guys have any questions about this cooler, hit it down in the comments below. If you guys are new to this channel, consider subscribing. Also hitting that bell notification icon so you know when the next video is going to be out. And again, I do have another project for the 120 AIO, so that will be coming soon. As I always say in my nerd cave, act till it hurts.